is now over Ohatchee. That is a fairly broad circulation, and the Weather Service has opted really not to extend the St. Clair County warning over at this point. So, Charles, you know, this looks pretty broad here. And
you know what, though? I would say also there might be some hail in that thing, though. If you switched over, maybe a little bit further back to the west, maybe closer to Raglan, though, out of that storm. So I'm going to be surprised if we don't see some more hail damage out of that.
Right. And let me
from Asheville to Raglan and Ohatchee, you guys might be running into some hail.
Let me pass along some damage information. This is a report. The roof is off the Dollar General near JSU's Coliseum. The roof is gone. There's a car in a tree, and Gamecock Village and Reserve Apartments have been hit by a tornado. This is a report. I can't confirm that personally, but I have reason to believe it's a valid source.
Yeah.
So if you guys in news can help me confirm that, and let's get somebody to Jacksonville ASAP. Okay, we do have somebody en route now, and we're going to work on confirming that. Just check with Jacksonville Fire. Again, Chris, the roof is off a Dollar General near the Coliseum, and there's a car in a tree, and Gamecock Village and the Reserve Apartments have been hit. That's the report, and we're going to work to confirm that. But again, I believe the source is valid, and based on the signature we saw, we know something was down there. But again, that circulation you see near Ohatchee, very, very broad. That is not a tornadic circulation, which is good. We've still got our two sister circulations, and this is the one that hit Jacksonville. It is coming through northern Cleburne, north of US 78, north of Edwardsville, north of Fruithurst. And that'll be crossing over into Georgia soon in about 10 minutes. But that could have really caused a lot of damage. And again, Jacksonville has had a very challenging month with the damage they sustained a couple of weeks ago from basically a shower in a very dynamic situation that knocked down a whole lot of trees around the city and on the campus. But again, we're going to confirm the Jacksonville damage, and again, we have a reporter that will be there very soon, and as soon as we get there, we will pop up the live view and we'll take a look at that. So the tornado warning, and by the way, let me just say that up in Calhoun County, that tornado warning has ended. The Cleburne, Cherokee County tornado warning is over. Cherokee County warning is over. That storm has moved into Georgia. That ended at 9 o'clock. So really we're down to these circulations. You see them kind of lined up here. This one, which is very broad, I don't believe that's a tornado. This one, which is broadening out, this is east of Jacksonville. And this one in Cleburne County, and this is the one that maybe caused some pretty significant damage in Calhoun County. I would love to know if we have reports out of the community of Angel, if we have reports out of Jacksonville, reports out of Duke or Wellington, around Pleasant Valley High School. We're working to get those reports, and as soon as we get folks in there and we can see what's happened, we'll certainly pass that information along. But this apparently is going to be the story of the night in terms of damage over here. And it sounds like the damage at Jacksonville could be pretty severe. Again, Jacksonville State University is on spring break this week, which might be a God thing that the students, most of them are not there on campus. You know, I was a weather weenie when I was in college, but a lot of college kids don't pay attention to weather like other folks. But the fact that the students are not there for the most part, that's probably good. But again, we've had a lot of damage apparently, and just as soon as we get okay,
wow,
we're getting confirmation from the Anniston Star that all of these reports are indeed true. We're having reports that there's severe damage at the Coliseum at Jacksonville State University. We're getting reports of multiple trees down and structure damage on Green Valley Road and South Side near 77. Some people are trapped. Police are on the scene now.
You see this one, it says, quote, gone?
Yeah, reports that the Coliseum at JSU is gone. Again, that's unconfirmed, but based on the confirmation we're receiving from our partner, the Anniston Star, it looks like this is all happening. Another report, Dollar General, less than a quarter mile away from me, doesn't have a roof, and there's a car in a tree at the Reserve, which is an apartment complex. We have trees on the roofs of houses in Jacksonville. Yeah, this is okay. Pretty serious stuff here. But let me just say this: if you're north of Fruithurst, you need to be sheltered. The Weather Service in Birmingham is concerned that this is a large and extremely dangerous tornado, and they're right. This came through Jacksonville. Fruithurst is down here. This is US 78. Fruithurst and points north. Take this thing seriously. Apparently, this was a very, very significant tornado. And the Weather Service is now calling this a large and extremely dangerous tornado that is coming through Cleburne County. Cherokee County EMA reports of some power outages there. But again, this is going to be a pretty violent-looking tornado right here. The National Weather Service in Atlanta is reporting a confirmed large dangerous tornado crossing out of Cleburne County, Alabama into Harrisville County, Georgia. People in Tallapoosa and Bremen, they want people to take cover now. Listen, if you know somebody in Tallapoosa and Bremen, Georgia, call them. You tell them to take shelter now. This is a very serious storm. We've got, again, I'm seeing a lot more hail damage from these storms. Goodness, we've got so much going on here. We have major tornado damage, major hail damage. And understand, let's see, do we have a director back there now? Listen, okay, great. Let's flip back to the main graphic system. Let's go back to the radar. I want to look at Birmingham Metro again. We have had very severe problems on the eastern side of the state. We've got strong storms forming in the Birmingham Metro right now. These are not at severe limits. Some locations getting thunder, lightning, heavy rain, but we stress in the Birmingham Metro, despite the fact that you're hearing thunder, these are not severe for now. So we have no warnings for the Birmingham Metro. We have storms down into eastern Tuscaloosa County. In fact, you can see storms popping up now not too far from the city of Tuscaloosa. These, at this point, are not severe. So I just wanted to show you that. We're watching all these storms, but the focus is over here on the eastern side of the state, where apparently some type of mesoscale boundary has been setting up, and we've got some major problems here. And again, we have what should be a violent tornado that is, in effect, a violent tornado passing through Cleburne County, north of Fruithurst, north of Edwardsville. See the inflow notch right there? Tornado is going to be right here. This is going to be in Georgia in a matter of minutes. Got a bounded weak echo region, a possible tornado here. Fruithurst is right down here. Tornado's about right in here, and again, that's going to be crossing over into Georgia. I'll show you the velocity here in a minute. So that's the one that came through Jacksonville, produced major damage apparently. I don't know much more. We've got reports that the Coliseum at Jacksonville has been very severely damaged. We have cars in trees in Jacksonville, roofs off of businesses, and serious damages to homes and apartments. Beyond that, I don't have any additional information, but again, to give some people some level of comfort, JSU's on spring break, so a lot of the students are out of town. But beyond that, we don't know much. And the thing, once this becomes a damage reporting situation, I'm not a journalist. We want to get the facts straight, and we are in the process of vetting the information. And Chris, if you get anything, you let me know. We've got Chris Sign here in the studio.
Yeah, nothing specific, but we are starting to hear of John Talbot. He's hearing of damage in St. Clair County as well.
Yeah. John Talbot, who's one of our sky watchers, he's hearing state trooper reports it's a war zone out there. And this is from Calhoun County. This is... Okay, damaged homes on Cape Drive and Kate.
Alabama 75 is blocked at airport. Power lines, trees down, tin roofs littering the
Alabama
countryside.
75, is that Aniana?
Yeah.
North of Aniana, that would be the storm that came through.
Albertville.
Okay, that's up in Marshall County. Yeah, we've got a lot of damage here, and again, we are going to assemble that into a good, concise form shortly. But the way it works here, we don't hand it over to news when there's been major damage. As long as we have life-threatening weather, we keep it here. So let's go back to the MAX, I'm sorry, not the MAX, but the WEX 05. This is the velocity display. And we can flip this back over to WEX 05. Okay, my bad. You know what? I hit the wrong button. Sometimes you just hit the wrong button, Charles. Charles has had the flu, and I think I'm still jet lagged from, here we go, this from a long trip around the country this weekend. But this is this circulation right here. It's moving over into Georgia. This is what caused the damage at Jacksonville. The second circulation has really, really weakened and broadened out. So, you know, at this point, that does not look tornadic. The third circulation over here at Alexandria does not look tornadic.
Right, and that's a new tornado warning for Calhoun, right? With Calhoun including the city of Anniston now.
Okay.
So we've got a new one here.
All right.
On that.
All right. Well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to pop a warning out for that circulation near Alexandria. It's this thing right here. Let's go to the main graphics, Max 1 back here behind us. And again, this is our new tornado warning polygon for Calhoun County. This does include all those places I said it didn't include earlier. Weaver, Sax, Linlock, Alexandria, the city of Anniston, Choccolocco, White Plains. That's Highway 9, Highway 21, 431. It's this rotation that kind of came over Ohatchee. And again, it looks really broad at this point, but based on the history and what we've seen tonight, you've got to, I think, do this. I think it's the right thing to do. So let's go back to that WEX 05. This is the high-res radar, and we're watching the velocity display. And again, this is the concern you see right here. So, you know, Alexandria sits right here. And the high school, the elementary school is right at my finger here. Weaver sits right here, and this, remember, it's moving south of east. You know, often during severe weather events, these storms race northeast. These are moving to the right. They're right turners, so they're moving down like this. There's a fair chance this circulation stays north of downtown Anniston, a very fair chance, but still, the city of Anniston is in the polygon. You have to respect that, and you need to do something about it. Now, Oxford is not. Anniston is. So from Anniston north up here to Weaver and Alexandria, we have a tornado warning for this circulation that is near Alexandria. And again, I will tell you, it doesn't look the best, but we've had a lot of damage here. We have had major damage reported. And again, as we look at all of these reports coming in, the reports are just simply not that good coming from Jacksonville and some of these other places. I'm seeing more reports of damage from other counties as well. But this is, and I think we have a reporter getting very close.
We have several reporters heading in that direction.
Okay. So the minute we get that live feed up, we'll pop it up and you'll see what happened in Jacksonville. But again,
the newsroom is telling me it's the Dollar General near the Coliseum
that
was hit, not the Coliseum.
Okay, so the Coliseum is intact.
That's the word I'm getting from the newsroom.
We've had reports otherwise, and that's why we need to get all this stuff confirmed. We know the Dollar General has lost the roof, and beyond that, we have to get this stuff confirmed. But I do know that a state trooper has reported that it's like a war zone here, and it's never good when you hear a law enforcement officer say that. There has been a lot of stuff going on here. But again, this circulation is just nasty. In fact, let me pop on the Atlanta Peachtree City radar. You want to see something crazy, Charles? Check out this velocity display. Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
This is what hit Jacksonville. Now, we're looking at it from Peachtree City, which is south of Atlanta. That's where the weather service is that serves Atlanta and North Georgia. But that's just nasty. And again, this is moving out of Alabama. This is coming into Haralson County, Georgia. Tallapoosa, Georgia, Bremen, Georgia. You got to be sheltered. If you know somebody over here, let them know. I'm sure our friends in Atlanta have them covered, but the bottom line is this has caused extensive damage in Jacksonville. And again, we have to respect that. And if you know anybody over there, let them know. This is passing just north of Fruithurst. U.S. Highway 78 is right here. I'm probably the only guy in here old enough to remember when Interstate 20 didn't exist and you had to drive U.S. 78 through Fruithurst. And I know that road very well. That's how I used to get to Atlanta from Birmingham. In that intense circulation, more than likely this is a large, violent, long-track tornado. And that's going to keep on going into Georgia. And if you're in Atlanta, just heads up, okay? Just be aware that these things are like bullets coming out of a gun. And the next downstream site is going to be toward the Atlanta metro. So again, our friends in Atlanta will have that covered. But that's what it looks like on the velocity display coming from Peachtree City. What I'll do is flip this thing back over to velocity from Birmingham, because we got to focus on the Anniston situation. So again, this is where we stand. There is circulation, and it's really up around Weaver. So if you're especially north of Anniston, in Sachs, around the old Fort McClellan property, Weaver and Linlock, you just want to be sheltered right in through here. And again, if you live in Anniston, yes, I would be sheltered as well. On a night like this, you want to take the course of least regret, and you want to be in a good, safe place. But especially if you're north of Anniston, Alexandria back over here to Weaver, and then down toward Fort McClellan and Sachs, the new bypass over here. And again, nobody should be driving along 431 or 21. 21 goes up to Jacksonville, 431 goes up to Gadsden. The road's split right here, but nobody should be driving on these, and we'll see if that circulation continues. Charles, looks like this warning is going to be in effect until 9:45.
Yeah.
And again, we'll see if they hold that. The warning for Cleburne will be canceled before 9:45 because that storm is in the process of moving over into Georgia.
Right.
The tornado warning, all the other warnings have expired. We're basically down, once this storm in Cleburne County moves into Georgia, we're down to one warning, and it's this one. And again, I will say that it looks like maybe another circulation is forming down and through here, Charles. We've seen circulations coming and going, and they become dominant, and that's the way these things work. Sometimes they occlude and they develop a new circulation, but it seems like we might be seeing a new circulation forming closer to Anniston. That's the reason these polygons are fairly broad to account for things like this. So, you know, if you're in the polygon, you do something.
Right. Anywhere from Anniston up to where you split at 431 and 21, all the way up to Alexandria. You guys need to be in that safe place. And these are moving southeast. Chocolaca, that's going to include you. And then you can see the Weather Service on my box just actually trimmed out Alexandria on 431, but just still stay in that safe place, let it go ahead and clear out the whole county before. Whitesides Mill, you guys have been in, I think, 2 or 3 separate tornado warnings now at this point.
Let me say one thing quickly, Charles. I didn't mean to interrupt. John Talbot is saying St. Clair County Dispatch is saying they're calling in off-duty deputies now. This is St. Clair County.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly where. That circulation passed near Shoal Creek Valley. I don't know where, but
The reporter from the Anniston Star, James, is reporting that fire officials say that there are injuries in Jacksonville.
Right, and let me just say this. We have reports of entrapment in Jacksonville. This is coming from good sources, and I just am going to leave it at that. Some of the stuff I don't want to tell you because I can't confirm it, but I have reason to believe that this is valid. Reports of some entrapment in some apartments, and people are having difficulty communicating with cell service being down. So again, this is pretty challenging. Again, I'm hearing more and more reports that there's been severe damage to the Pete Matthews Coliseum. I've heard that from multiple sources. And again, as soon as we can confirm that, we'll let you know. But I have reason to believe that, that might be the case. Ohatchee High School is opened as a shelter, by the way. That is coming from Calhoun County EMA. So if you are in Calhoun County, if you've been affected by these violent tornadoes, and if you need shelter, Ohatchee High School has opened as a shelter.
Please be careful if you try to make your way there. There's going to be trees and power lines down across the road. Lights will be out. Visibility will be greatly limited. So please, if you do have to make your way to a shelter, please drive slow, use extra caution, and do what you can to be safe.
And I'm seeing some images coming in from Stephen Quinn of major damage at the Cullman County Jail. He says the damage to some of the vehicles is just horrific. And again, we're going to have to focus in on the tornado damage, and the hail damage is a major story. Let me say this, Bill Partridge, a friend who is the chief of the Oxford Police, they are mobilizing a team to travel to Jacksonville to assist Jacksonville Police, which is a sign that this is serious. We've had a major issue in Jacksonville tonight. And again, we've got a tornado. I don't want to lose track of what's going on here. We've got broad circulation, and there's a tornado warning in effect for areas really from Anniston north. This is the polygon edge right here. This includes the city of Anniston and over here to Choccolocca. And if you're in Calhoun County in this polygon, you want to be in a safe place. This is a fairly broad circulation, but we've seen it being cycling, and understand based on what has happened so far over here, this is serious business has happened. You really need to take this stuff seriously. So if you're in a polygon, you've got to respect that and get into a safe place. So again, for Calhoun County, Anniston, Sacs, Weaver, and then points east over here toward White Plains, you need to be in a safe place right now. Choccolocca back over to White Plains because of this circulation you see right here until this thing passes. And again, I'm seeing more and more reports over here, so that we've had an incident in Jacksonville. I'll just leave it at that. But again, Ohatchee High School is a shelter. If you are in a damaged home and you need a place to go, and a lot of people probably do, that is the first shelter we've seen reported open for people that need a place to stay tonight. That is coming from Calhoun County Emergency Management. Report from Weaver, from Michelle Micklick. She's a longtime sky watcher. Michelle has hail, dime size in Weaver, heavy rain, and lots of thunder, but no reports of any strong winds. And again, just all the what I prefer to wait until I get some of the journalists here in the building to help us confirm the reports, Charles, of damage. We all have our roles here. We're meteorologists. We're trained as physical scientists, not news reporters. Sometimes we have to be, and you hang around them all these years. But again, we want to be sure we get it right. And we know that people are watching us all over the country and the world with relatives in Jacksonville that want to know what's happened there. And our reporters should be there at any minute. And the minute we get that popped up, and if we don't have tornado warnings, we'll go there and we'll stay with this. We're not going away. This is going to be we knew going in this was going to be a bad situation, and sure enough, it is.
Got reports of Highway 77 blocked near South Side. Trees down, so...
Yeah, I've seen a lot of reports from South Side, and again, we've had so many circulations. Reports of damage at Riddles Bend and Rainbow City in Etowah County. All of these areas were under tornado warnings. Let's go back to the big picture if we can. I mean, this is getting awfully noisy. This is where we stand right now. So this is your radar. Let's look at the Birmingham Metro, and again, I want to keep our eyes on the ball here. You might be hearing thunder if you are in Warrior, Kimberly, Morris, Corner. Nothing severe up there. You might be hearing thunder if you're in Moody or Trussville or Argo. Nothing severe for now. You might be hearing thunder if you're down in Bessemer or parts of Hoover. In fact, I'm getting some lightning triggers here. ABC 3340 is down in River Chase down here, and again, we're starting to see some lightning coming out of these storms. We've got to watch these. The air has been untouched during the day today in the Birmingham Metro, so these storms could go severe. Please understand that. But if you watched all the postings in recent days with that STP product, it's a marvelous product, significant tornado parameter, a composite index. The bigger values were over here. The models really did well with this. So let's go back over to East Alabama, and we've got one tornado warning in effect, and this is a tornado warning in effect for Calhoun County. That does include the city of Anniston. And obviously, we probably got some hail falling right here. Where you see these shades of purple, that's higher reflectivity values, the radar beam coming off those hailstones. It comes back at a stronger signal strength. And accordingly, this is probably a pretty good sign we've got some hail falling down here. And obviously, very heavy rain, tremendous amounts of lightning, but that's your tornado warning you see right there. And
they just trimmed it back a little bit.
Right, they did, because the circulation is over here now. So Anniston is now out of the polygon. If you're in Anniston, Weaver, Sacs, Fort McClellan, Linlock, you are no longer in a tornado warning. The tornado warning is now for a small part of eastern Calhoun County, which is over here. Choccolocca and White Plains. Alabama Highway 9 is right here, runs up out of US 78. You got Iron City and White Plains, it's about right here. That's Choccolocca Road. So if you're along Highway 9, south of Nances Creek, you want to be in a safe place until this passes. And again, I will say we've clearly got rotation there. We have circulation. In fact, I'd say the velocity has actually gotten a little bit better. Let's quickly pop on WEX 05 back behind me here, and I'll show you the actual velocity display, which is right there. So we have a little better and a tighter rotational signature here east of Anniston. Anniston is here, US 431, Alabama 21 right here. And again, this is about to cross over into Cleburne County, so we'll see if the Weather Service posts a new tornado warning for Cleburne County, which they probably will, based on the fact that we've had a pretty rough night. Here's a note from Lauren Walsh, our reporter. She's reporting that Mitch Smith Chevrolet in Cullman estimates 390 cars are damaged by hail. The damages are going to be extensive from tornadoes and from hail tonight.
James, do you see this picture out of Jacksonville, the Reserve Apartments?
There it is. Yes. In fact, let's pop on the main graphic system back here. If we could do that, please.
And that's our smartphone apps going off.
Yeah, it's lightning alerts. You know, an old ball coach, I never took the lightning alerts off. You know, 8 miles, you get in. I'm afraid of one thing when it comes to weather, and it's lightning. I take it seriously. So yeah, let's take WEX 05 full screen if we can do that. Wow.
And that's the Reserve Apartments there in Jacksonville. That's what we're getting word of.
Yeah, this is a shot from Andrew Fuller, and this is an apartment complex, the Reserve in Jacksonville, and this is just not good. Let me just say this while we're looking at that damage. St. Clair County, this is from John Talbot, St. Clair County deputies are saying there's so many trees down in St. Clair County, it's hard to get into damaged areas to help. And how many times have we heard this story? You know, you get a big tornado outbreak like this and you can't get in there to help people. But this is why we encourage people to have an air horn with them, because you might be trapped, you might need help, and they can't find you. It's dark, there's no power. And first responders have been trained to listen for that. So again, what you're looking at here, this is an apartment complex, the Reserve Apartments in Jacksonville. And I can't help you with injuries. And again, we got to be having close to our guys being there. I think they were supposed to be there 20 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. So when we get that live video coming from Jacksonville, we're going to pop that up and get the live view going, and we'll show you that. So just hang with us. The Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for Calhoun County. Let's go back to the graphics. The Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for Calhoun County. So it's still showing up here, but it's showing up in the chat room.
I think that was the smaller one. Remember, there was multiple.
Right. That's the thing. We have had so many polygons tonight. So we're going to assume this is still in effect. So this is a tornado warning for the far eastern part of Calhoun County, and that storm is going to be crossing over into Cleburne County. But we're going to hold it right here for just a second and see if that goes away. Now here's a new severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun and Cleburne. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun and Cleburne County until 10:30. Let's kind of expand this out, Charles, and let me show this new polygon here.
And they have canceled that tornado warning there. I had to make sure to clear that.
It is, the circulation's gone. But the main issue down here, it's going to be hail. So there we go. This is your new severe thunderstorm warning polygons for Calhoun and Cleburne counties. And this includes Anniston, Oxford, Heflin. The possibility of large hail, strong straight line winds. We understand that the Cullman county or city schools are closed because of the hail damage. Cullman City schools are closed tomorrow because of all of the damage because of hail. And it's just going to be a big mess. That's one, and we'll probably have many others that might be closed where there's been extensive damage tonight. So at this point, we do not have any tornado warnings. Now, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here We'll crank up our 10 o'clock news. We're going to stay right with you. And Charles, American Idols is going to be replayed at what time?
12:35.
okay.
Set your DVR. 12:30.
12:05.
Okay, they changed it to 12:05.
And understand, you can watch ABC programming through so many different ways now. ABC app, Roku, Apple TV, the Amazon Fire. You can see this almost any way you want to, but for those that watch on traditional television that want to record that, it's going to be on shortly after midnight, 12:05 this morning. That's an aerial flood advisory for all of Etowah, northern Calhoun, northern St. Clair, and much of Blount. And these storms have been training right across the same area, and there could be some flooding problems here. So just keep in mind, in addition to the other warnings, we have an aerial flood warning, but this is the severe thunderstorm warning over here, and this is in effect for parts of Calhoun and Cleburne counties in East Alabama. This includes Anniston and Oxford and White Plains and Heflin and Fruithurst. And Interstate 20. And let me just say, I would not want to be driving tonight. If you have seen the damage to vehicles because of hail, you would not want your car out there.
Yeah, I bet Anniston right now is about to get a nice hail core coming through at this moment. If you look at the VIL, the digital vertically integrated liquid here, we've seen baseball, softball-sized hail even out of some of these storms earlier tonight.
Yeah, let me read this. This is a statement from the athletic director at Jacksonville State. This is good information. So this is the athletic director at JSU, Greg Seitz. We do have extensive damage in Jacksonville. I can confirm we have major roof damage at the Pete Matthews Coliseum, but the Pete is not completely destroyed. We have staff on site, and we'll update as soon as possible.
I think that's good news.
Right. We've heard various stories of the damage at Pete Matthews Coliseum, but again, we have confirmed that major roof damage has occurred, but the structure itself, Pete Matthews Coliseum, is not destroyed.
James, I wanted to give you an update on two things here.
Go.
Number one, American Idol is at 12:35. That is your third notice there. 12:35 for American Idol. That is how it will stay, 12:35. Now back to the Jacksonville situation and the pressing matter, James. I wanted to update you that...
Yeah, and you guys can take it. We have no tornado warnings right now.
No, we just wanted to talk this out here. I wanted to let you know that we do have multiple crews heading down there. However, we have a problem with cell service and even radio contact with them. And so it is so spotty there. So I'm wondering now if some of the infrastructure was damaged.
Yeah, the way we get live video back is a little device called a Live View, which basically uses the cellular network. And if the cellular network is down, it won't work. And so we still have in this parking lot a whole bunch of
old school live trucks,
microwave live trucks and satellite trucks. And so we can take those, and we have a very tall tower on Bald Rock Mountain near Leeds, between Leeds and Pell City. And we can shoot in to the Bald Rock receiver from there with the microwave trucks. So they're encountering communication problems. I can understand that. Anytime you go into a tornado zone, it's very challenging. That's why ham radio operators are so crucial. These cell phones are fantastic when they work, but when the network is down, you can't do much except play solitaire or something. So again, once we get communication established over there, we will let you know. Here's a report from John Talbot. A state trooper reporting Mountain Street at Highway 21 North is impassable in Calhoun County because of trees down. He needs help. Other troopers are being called in. They're calling for more reinforcements. And again, this is around Jacksonville. Yeah, so it's pretty tough. And again, we've got other damage in other parts of the state that a lot of it's from hail. I mean, a lot of damage from hail. Cullman has been hit very, very hard tonight from hail. And as we get additional information on some of that damage, we will let you know. But we've got major tornado damage in parts of Calhoun County. The Weather Service will be sending in survey teams tomorrow to assess the damage. It's dark. We typically don't know the extent of the damage until the first light of day tomorrow morning. So once we get teams in to assess it, we'll know what type of tornado this was. But we don't even know the type of damage we have. We don't know the injury situation. We've heard of some entrapment. And it sounds like this could be a large tornado that came through parts of Calhoun and Cleburne counties earlier tonight. And as soon as we get additional information, the thing we want to do is report the facts right. I'm not that interested in being first. I'm interested in being right. And so we're going to let Chris and Brenda and the news team kind of handle that. But we do have great reports coming in via John Talbot and our folks that help us, that monitor scanner traffic and people that are on the scene. And again, let's go back to that picture. If you didn't see it from WEX 05, this is what the damage looks like at an apartment complex in Jacksonville. So if you guys can punch up 05, WEX 05, yeah, this is what it looks like. And this was the Reserve Apartments.
I believe so.
In Jacksonville. This is, again, you can see a ceiling fan there, and obviously there's very heavy damage. We do know for a fact, we can confirm the fact that Jacksonville State University is on spring break.
James, I have an update for you as well.
Go, Brenda. And
Okay,
let me just
so-
say, I do think that we've had injuries, but I don't know how many.
Okay, but information about our crew trying to get to Jacksonville. They were on Peaks Hill Road and encountered some downed power lines, which is also going to be a major concern in a lot of areas with the trees down. So, of course, for their safety, they had to turn around. They are still attempting to get closer to Jacksonville, but it's not going to be an easy travel situation.
Right,
tonight.
so, James, it's County Road 204. Right there in that area, they're saying is littered with down power lines, and our crew had to make a U-turn and get out of there.
State Highway 204?
No, County Road 204, Peaks Hill Road.
Okay.
Just a reminder that people should stay inside and
Yeah.
not be out traveling and not be curiosity seeking tonight, because that can also lead to major tragedies. And James, as you have mentioned before, you don't want to be out after all this debris is in the area.
Right. Let me give a report. Again, this is from social media. I believe this to be valid. My sister, who lives at the Reserve Apartments in Jacksonville, is fine. Her bathroom was caving in, so she's trying to leave the apartments, but she can't leave because of downed trees. And we know there's been extensive damage there. And again, I have seen multiple reports that people have been injured. And beyond that, I just don't want to go there. There's some other things we've seen. I will wait until we get this stuff confirmed out here tonight. This is coming in from Pell City. And again, that's looking back into the storms along Interstate 20. So far, the interstate has been okay. The damage and the hail has been north of Interstate 20. But again, tonight, you can see that we've got the sky is illuminated because of lightning. And we encourage, a lot of people are saying, you know, I want to get down to Jacksonville and help. I would not try that right now. We're just trying to get state troopers and police enforcements in there to begin to set up security and begin to do some search and rescue and to see exactly what we have. And if you try and drive in there, you might hit a live power line. It's dark, the power's out. You might hit a tree that's down across the road and you wind up needing help. So this is not quite the time to do that. Let's let the professionals do their work. The first responders, the law enforcement agencies, the paramedics. And once we get a call from them that we can use some volunteers with chainsaws. The one thing I learned from my buddy Rick Bragg, one man with a chainsaw is worth 50 with a clipboard in a situation like this. And if you've got a chainsaw and if you want to help, hang on, hang tight. Your help's probably going to be needed, but let's wait until we get our friends in law enforcement from Jacksonville Police and some of these other agencies to give a call for volunteers. The state troopers, they're asking other troopers to have a meetup at highways 204 and 21. That's right there in the middle of Jack State near the Houston Cole Library. And just for the fun of it, Charles, our camera on top of the Houston Cole Library, I want to see if there's power to that. We've not had control. It was damaged. And let's just by chance, I want to know if there's power at the Houston Cole Library.
It didn't come up earlier when I tried, so we can try it again and see, but I don't think we're going to get it tonight.
Here's a report from David Peters. David Peters interned with me he interned the same year Ginger Z did. This was in 2000. David was a meteorology major at Florida State University. He's from Jacksonville. David just sent me a note. The roof has blown off his family's home in northeast Jacksonville, but there's nobody injured there. His family is okay. So David, we're glad your family is okay. David still lives in Tallahassee. But he comes back often, and he's involved with a lot of things in Jacksonville. And again, he was an intern in the summer of 2000. That's when we had Ginger Z, and it was a great intern crew that year. Ginger, of course, is with Good Morning America now. But again, from David Peters, a roof off his home, but his family is okay. And
James, I wouldn't be surprised if we've got some large hail east side of Anniston, Oxford, headed towards Heflin at this point. I know it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but what we've seen with the damage, just a heads up for those folks in Anniston, Hobson City, Oxford, east of town as you head over towards Heflin. We've got a large hailer coming your way. That's that severe thunderstorm warning we've been watching. So just keep that in mind. If you've got the car in the garage, I think you'll be okay, but it's too late to get out there and move it now.
Another report that a friend's roof and garage are gone, but the families are safe. And there's some reports involving health and welfare I don't want to get into. I want you guys to confirm that. We don't play speculation when it comes to health and welfare. We've got to wait for something official, but we got Patrick on the line with us. So Chris, let's bring him in.
Patrick, can you hear us right now? Patrick Thomas?
Yes, I can hear you all.
Okay, Patrick, go ahead and set the scene for us. What is your location? How far are you from Jacksonville, and what have you encountered?
Okay, so actually things were so bad on the way to Jacksonville. We were traveling into Jacksonville, heading towards Jacksonville State University on Highway 204. We had to stop and turn back around because there were power lines down over a vehicle. So we're now on Highway 431. We're probably about 15 minutes away, and actually it's sort of stop-and-go traffic. We see some blue lights up ahead. Not sure exactly what has happened on this stretch of Highway 431, but you can tell that there have been branches down. We saw some trees down, massive amount of power lines, so we're just sort of waiting to see exactly what has happened. We're heading to Jacksonville State, but we had to actually detour and go another direction, get back out on Highway 431, so hopefully we can be there in the next 15 minutes or so.
All right, Patrick, I have a question for you. You said that, was it power lines or a tree down on that car? And if so, was anyone inside? Were they okay?
We saw some power lines down on the vehicle. We didn't see anyone inside, so that's a good sign. What I want to caution people about doing is driving across those down power lines. We saw at least 2, maybe 3 vehicles do that. That is dangerous, although nothing happened when they did. That's not what you should be doing, especially when you have, continuous rain and or, a situation that could become dangerous in a hurry. So we don't believe that anyone was inside, but the tree was not down on the car. We do know there were some trees down around the vehicle, and those power lines were on top of the vehicle, but no one seemed to be inside.
Patrick, have you been able to get in touch with anybody in the Jacksonville area so far? I know you've been trying to make some phone calls.
I spoke with someone from the Calhoun County EMA, and they are working. I think things are so busy right now that no one has been able really to get a hold of us. We called the main line, and the person I spoke with said that they had heard the same problem as well. I think that people here in Jacksonville and also the EMA have their hands full with some of the damage that they're dealing with, that they're just scrambling as fast as possible to handle those situations and get us information as soon as they can.
You're on Highway 431, Patrick, heading towards Jacksonville.
Yes.
I understand that. Now, have you been passed by any emergency vehicles, whether it's a sheriff, whether it's a state trooper, anything or everything? Have you been passed up by emergency vehicles yet?
When we were traveling back on Highway 204 to get on Highway 431, we were passed by what appeared to be some first responders heading towards those power lines that I just described a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one we've seen so far. I haven't seen any in the last 5 minutes, but we did see some, like I said, just a moment ago heading towards Jacksonville on Highway 204, but none so far except these blue lights right up ahead on 431 that we're waiting to see right now exactly what has happened, not even 150, 200 feet in front of us.
Well, the reason I'm asking, and I want you to be aware and alert, because Chief Bill Partridge from Oxford Police Department tweeted out that they're mobilizing to travel to Jacksonville to assist JPD. Now, of course, they're going to be heading north So I don't know if they'll come across you. But James, as you look at this map, James, and we're looking at Highway 431, and Patrick is making his way there. What kind of weather is he going to encounter? And has the threat passed these areas here where now we have first responders rushing to the scene in Jacksonville?
Understand, if they're coming in from the south, the weather's going to be rough. We've got heavy rain, thunder, lightning, maybe some hail. There's no tornado threat in here at this point, and Jacksonville is not under any type of warning at this point. If you're coming into Jacksonville from the north, conditions are better. But again, I've had literally over 2,000 social media messages here, looking at some of them. Multiple homes damaged in Southside on Green Valley Road and in Riddle's Bend. First responders are on site. The roof has been blown off. Webb Concrete and Center in Cherokee County. Homes destroyed in Southside near Gadsden. We have many reports of homes destroyed in Southside. That's in Etowah County, south of the city of Gadsden. That's near the Coosa River. And again, it is the damage is across many counties, and it's fairly widespread. And again, we are going to just take the news as it comes in. We'll take the good reports from social media, but we want to kind of hear from the law enforcement agencies. But right now, all they're concerned about is search and rescue and trying to be sure that people are okay. So, hello, I didn't know we were on camera here. So, that's the situation. So, I want to show you a couple of images too here in just a second. Let me load up one more. This is, again, in Cullman. We're obviously concerned about the tornado damage in Etowah and Calhoun counties, but in Cullman County, it's been brutal. This is hail damage. And again, you can see the airbag deployed in this vehicle. In fact, let me just do this real quick.
And Lauren Walsh, one of our reporters, reported that one of the car dealerships had, 390 cars damaged, estimated?
Right, up in Cullman. And this is Southside. We've got, images like this coming from so many different counties. But in terms of the tornado damage in Alabama, in our part of the state, the most significant damage has come in from Etowah and Calhoun and perhaps northern Cleburne. I have great fear that we have a lot of damage in northern Cleburne County. But I want to go back to the radar behind me, Charles, and let's go back to a big picture. We have to be really careful here because we still have a tornado watch until 11, and I just want to show the big picture. Generally speaking, west of I-65, things are quiet. In the Birmingham metro, we have heavy rain and storms to the north and east of the city. And again, these are under severe limits at this point. The most significant severe weather tonight has been over on this eastern side of the state. But again, you can see Straight Mountain down towards Springville, up toward Asheville. Heavy rain falling here. That extends down toward Rimlap and Pinson. And then we've got heavier rain falling down here around Leeds, where Shelby and Jefferson and St. Clair counties all come together. And then the more serious storms are the ones over here from St. Clair County back into Calhoun and Cleburne counties. And we're obviously becoming concerned about the possibility of heavy rain and flooding. We have an aerial flood warning in effect here, and we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect as well for the possibility of large hail.
Yeah, that's a new severe thunderstorm warning there.
Yeah, and I think that's the right thing to do based on the amount of damage that we have seen here. It has been a very rough night tonight. And again, what I'm doing is looking in real time, and we have to be kind of careful looking at this because so many reports come in, and we try and report good information. Again, this is from the Gadsden Times. There are a lot of trees down and blocking roads in Etowah County, especially in Southside. First responders are out. EMA in Etowah County is asking people stay off the road. That's great advice. And I know a lot of you want to help. And of course, if you're in the neighborhood that's been damaged, you go help. But in terms of coming in from the outside, wait until you get an all clear from law enforcement. They're going to need some help. They're going to need some chainsaw people. They're going to need some crews tomorrow. But wait until they give the okay here. Yeah, looking at some more of these images here. And goodness, there's so many hail pictures. I probably have 2,000 images of large hail, Charles. It's been just stunning. And we have so many people with damage. I don't want to know the financial damage. It's going to take a while to add all this up. And in terms of businesses and homes and cars and roofs and windows and windshields that have been taken out by hail tonight, very destructive hail. You know, a lot of times we get the little pea-sized hail, but tonight it's been serious business. So again, this is the radar, and the main action continues on the eastern side of the state. By the way, it is 9:48. We'll be doing a newscast at 10. We have no tornado warnings in effect now. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect here. This is basically from Ragland and Pell City, right down Interstate 20 through Lincoln, East Teboga, Oxford, Anniston. And again, the storm complex you see here from Ragland down to Pell City could be producing some hail. In fact, I almost guarantee it's producing some hail. And that's moving to the, again, it's a little south of due east. And you can see how that progression continues. Let's pop on the tornado watch. Let's see if any more counties have been cleared. We always look for good news.
Yep, had a few.
And I got some good news for you. So the tornado watch has been canceled for Sumter, Greene, Pickens, Lamar, Fayette, Walker, Cullman, Winston, and Marion counties. You are no longer under a tornado watch. There is no threat of severe weather. You notice the maroon color up here in Cullman County. That's a flash flood warning. Storms have just been coming and coming and coming through there, and that's a flash flood warning for Cullman County. So that's the reason we have that color there. Otherwise, the counties in yellow, that is a tornado watch until 11 o'clock tonight for about the next hour and 11 minutes. And over here, the brighter shades, these are severe thunderstorm warnings along the Interstate 20 corridor from Pell City back over to the Georgia state line. So again, this is not the time you want to be driving along Interstate 20 on the eastern side of the state. And in terms of what's happened tonight, if you're just joining us, we have had major hail damage in many counties. We have had major tornado damage in parts of the state. Some of the more serious tornado damages in Jacksonville. The encouraging news we can pass on is the fact that the students are on spring break. So a lot of students are out of town, but a lot of students are in town. And a lot of people live in Jacksonville on a permanent basis. But again, the athletic director, we want to stress, says that Pete Matthews Coliseum was not destroyed, but it received major roof damage. And they have crews on site and they're assessing the damage.
James, Alabama Power just sent out an update. They said they have approximately 15,000 customers without power, 6,000 in Calhoun County, 4,900 in Etowah County, 1,500 in St. Clair, 1,000 in Cleburne, and about 500 in Blount. And of course, they're going to ask for the patience of folks to let them get the power back on. It's safety first for their crews. Before those guys get out there and they can work, they have to have safe conditions.
Yep. And again, a lot of the outages are on that eastern side of the state. Some of the more serious outages are in Calhoun, Etowah, St. Clair, Cleburne, and Blount. And Alabama Power Company, these guys are good. They get out there in the midst of this stuff, and as soon as it's safe, they'll go in and start restoration efforts. Anyway, we don't have any tornado warnings, and that's a really good thing right now. I mean, we knew going in this looked like a bad day. SPC did the upgrade about 11 o'clock this morning to moderate. And understand there has been major tornado damage up near the Tennessee state line as well, not only in our part of the state, but for our part of central Alabama, the most severe damage has been through parts of the northern counties with the hail and then the eastern counties with tornadoes tonight. And because of the communication problems we have and the cell towers that are out, the cell service that's out, the power that's out, we're having communication problems getting our folks into Jacksonville. And as soon as they do that, we'll bring you pictures as soon as we can. But we do safety first here. We don't want our crews out in a bad situation, and we certainly don't want our crews interfering with law enforcement's work. In some cases, they still might be doing search and rescue here. We have had reports of entrapment. We have had reports of injuries. And I don't want to go beyond that. I just don't want to go beyond that because I don't have enough solid sources to go beyond that tonight.
What we do know is that there's a mutual aid situation occurring. And
which means
in Jacksonville, mutual aid.
They need help.
Exactly right. There is agreements across the entire state from municipality to municipality. And Jacksonville, there is a mutual aid situation happening right now where neighboring police departments and fire crews and first responders are heading towards Jacksonville. So
to assist.
Correct. That is what's confirmed. We're going to stick with the information that's confirmed, as James has been pointing out here throughout the night. There's a lot going on social media and things of that nature. Quite frankly, some of the information we are getting from social media, it could happen in other states for all we know, some of the images. So we are waiting for the official statements. We're waiting for our own team to get on the scene and look at that. Patrick Thomas is en route. He should be there any minute.
And that's why we do send our team, so that we can confirm what is actually the truth and what is not. We have to separate fact from fiction in cases like this. And quite honestly, when things are happening so fast and the weather is damaging so many parts of our state, it is very critical that we take our time disseminating that information. We have to allow the emergency crews, the police, fire departments to do their jobs, and once they can get out there and assess what the situation is, then a lot more information will be coming in. Right now, what we do know is that you should not go out to curiosity seek, to go on look. I've been in situations where a tornado has just come through and it is absolutely chaotic, and the first responders need the roads clear. They do need help from local people not coming from across the state. But as James had mentioned, a good chainsaw can really help in a situation like this. But many of the roads are blocked. What we do know is many roads are blocked. And we also know that the power lines in many areas are down as well. That creates a very deadly situation. As Patrick Thomas reported earlier, some people actually drove over power lines. That is something you should never do. He did see some power lines down on a car. Trees have been downed. Also roofs, many roofs in many counties we know have been torn off, ripped off. There's lots of debris out there, and that sets up another dangerous situation if you're out and about. And quite honestly, if you're out and about with your car, your tires could get punctured. And even worse than that, if you're out walking through a neighborhood, you have to have those thick-soled shoes, because a nail could quite easily go through your foot. So that's why we say, stay where you are. You may have a loved one in that area. You may be worried, but the best thing that you can do for your loved one is to keep those roadways clear so the emergency responders can get in there, assess the situation, help the people who really need the help.
And I want you to think about this. People in Tuscaloosa, sure, you didn't have a tornado event, you didn't have a serious weather event as of this moment, and Birmingham Metro escaped it as well. However, thousands of lives have been changed after this event tonight. We saw the large amount of damage in the Cullman area. So many lives have been affected by that. People lost their cars. We saw cars that are going to be totaled, easily totaled, with just the amount of hail damage. That's not even the wind damage from the tornado warnings that went through that area. So you have the hail damage, you have the water damage, and then you have the wind damage. And that's just in Cullman. There are so many other spots: St. Clair County, Cherokee County, Etowah County, Blount County. So many people, so many of our neighbors are now in a really tough spot now because of this severe weather outbreak that came through. It
is a major event, and just a reminder too, the Cullman schools will be closed tomorrow because of some major damage in that area. Also, the Walmart had major damage. So this is an event, as Chris said, will change a lot of lives, and just to get the vehicles cleared and get the vehicles repaired is going to be a major event with so many counties involved in so much destruction. And our hearts certainly go out to so many people in those areas. And as you said, Chris, even though it didn't touch Tuscaloosa, didn't touch possibly Edgewater, people who have been hit in the past by these tornadoes and this severe weather can certainly understand. Their hearts go out to them tonight. And I know that the main thing, though, tonight, right now, is to allow the emergency crews to really get their job done, keep clear of those areas if at all possible.
Where is this live image coming in from? Can Elisa? That's from East Aboga. Okay. I also wanted to let everybody know the Calhoun Calhoun County Sheriff has tweeted out that numerous trees are down in Wellington, Pleasant Valley, and Nance's Creek area. Please stay off the roads. A testament to exactly what you were saying. Please stay off the roads. Our crew, if you're just now joining us, that was heading to Jacksonville because there has been a weather event, if you will, for lack of a better term, that struck that area. We know that there's some damage. We know that there may be some injuries. We don't have that confirmed, but we do know that there's damage there and that there is a mutual aid situation happening there as more and more first responders are heading towards Jacksonville. Our crews en route there, they had to turn around because of downed power lines and because of debris littering portions of one of the county roads there. So this is still a dangerous situation. James, I want to bring you in on this very quickly here before we hit the reset button here. We are looking at those images coming in from East Aboga. Any severe weather threats at this very moment? Any warnings?
Yeah, we do. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect on the eastern side of the state. These thunderstorms are affecting counties like St. Clair, Calhoun, and Cleburne. And again, this live stream is coming along Interstate 20 in some of the heavy rain here. So again, if you are anywhere from basically Riverside over to Bynum, Ohatchee, Ragland, Anniston, Heflin, Oxford, White Plains, is pouring rain there. In fact, let's check the radar here, Charles. I'm going to grab some water here for my voice goes down.
And right now, again, here's Pell City here. You've got Riverside. The warning's actually been trimmed out of St. Clair just a little bit. But anywhere right along I-20 and eastbound, you've got some large hail really along the river and to the east side as you head over towards Lincoln. Then another warning here between Heflin and the Georgia state line. I wouldn't doubt to see some possibly golf ball sized hail along I-20. So you don't want to be traveling in these areas. We're still getting some damage. I wouldn't be surprised to still be getting some damage reports out of these areas a little later, of course, as we do. So let's roll the show open for the 10 o'clock news, which starts right now.
ABC 3340 News starts now with a severe weather alert.
And you are looking at some of the images of just a bit of the damage that is peppering the landscape across portions of central Alabama. As you look at the hail damage, I want to let you know, seconds ago we got information here from the Calhoun County Sheriff. It says Highway 431 north of Alexandria is closed in both north and southbound lanes because of live power lines on an 18-wheeler. This severe weather situation is not over at this moment.
No, it's not. We are staying on top of the severe weather for you tonight. Right now, though, we want to go to the Cullman area. Brian Pia has been assessing some of the damage there. Brian, I know you had some major hail damage there.
Absolutely right, Brenda and Chris. I am outside the Tony Serra Nissan dealership here in South Cullman. Take a look at the damage to these cars. Look at the damage, the hail damage to the windshield. Absolutely amazing. Just pelted. The manager here told me more than 200 cars here are total losses. The good news, no injuries. Take a look at the size of the hail that caused the damage. And across the street at the Market Plot Center, major damage to several stores. The roof was destroyed, a number of stores flooded out, the merchandise totaled, but fortunately no injuries because most people closed up shop this afternoon. I spoke with Jason Grimmett, who works for the company that owns the shopping center.